Salve deviatores, and welcome back to Let's Translate Phaedrus' Fables. I am going through a selection of fables by the Roman Phaedrus, translating their Latin to English, though not to poetic English, because these fables are poetry in iambic hexameter verse. Here are all the fables that are being translated, and we're going to have a little bit of an easier time today, because last fable, Tiberius ad Adriancem, was super long, and the next fable, Lupus Arcanum, is also super long. So let's have a nice, easier time today with Aesopus et Petulans. Successus, first, Aesopus et Petulans, Aesop and the petulant man. When you have just an adjective in Latin, you just use the context to figure out what the noun that it's modifying really is. Here, it's a man. Successus ad perniciam multos devocat. Successus is a past participle from succero, and succero can mean to climb or to advance, march on, approach, or it could mean what it looks like in English, to succeed. In both the, being succeeded, or to just have success, to complete something. So, successus, or successus, success, ad perniciam, ad, the preposition, is to, takes an accusative case as well, and perniciam is in the accusative. The nominative is pernicies, and that means ruin, destruction, calamity, disaster. So to, let's say, ruin. Yeah. Multos, from multus, it's just many. We get words like multiply from it. So many, and this is also in the accusative, but it's not working with ad, because it's not agreeing with perniciam in number. Multos is plural, perniciam is singular. So we know that multos is outside the prepositional phrase, and so it is the main object of the sentence. And devocat is from devoco. That is our verb. Third person, in just, third person singular, I should say, with the T. It is present, active, and indicative. So, devoco is like to call down, to call forth, summon. I'm going to say calls. Success to ruin many calls. That we got to put into better English word order. So success calls many, subject, verb, object, regular English word order, to ruin. That's our moral for the story. I'm not a particular fan of having the moral before the actual story. I like having the story so that you can interpret it for yourself and then have the intended moral afterwards to explain the story if it's really needed. But, yeah. Still, success calls many to ruin. So, when you're succeeding, when things are going your way, people may take it too far and then make a mistake or just push their luck a little too much. And make a mistake, the petulant man will. Aesopo quidam petulans, lapidem impegerat. So Aesopo, Aesop, specifically in the either the dative or ablative case, but we'll see which one it is in a minute. Quidam. Quidam is a pronoun meaning a certain. Certain. So like a certain person, a certain thing. This is specifically nominative, masculine singular. How this word works is weird. I haven't explained this even when we've seen it before, but it's really the qui in the beginning, which is a pronoun in and of itself, but that is what declines. The dom suffix does not. So it kind of, to someone that doesn't really know about this word, it looks like it's always feminine singular accusative, but no, you've got to pay attention to the qui. So nominative singular masculine and petulans. Once again, just the adjective. So, and petulans really could be any gender. So we may have to wait until later to figure out really what this is supposed to be referring to, but I still know it is a petulant man. In fact, really, we could see later, this participle is referring to Aesop. This participle, though, is referring to petulans, the petulant man. And it is masculine, so we can assume it's a man. Why are you still there? Go away. Lapidem. This is the accusative form of lapis, accusative singular form of lapis. And that means a stone. Impegerat, from the era in there, you should be able to identify that this is pluperfect, third person singular, and no UR afterwards, so it's active. The era also should tell you that it is indicative. Otherwise, it would be different. So the third person singular, pluperfect active indicative from impingo, which it's weird to translate. It literally means to strike or to force upon, drive, thrust, beat. So it's weird because like had struck, but you put that into English word order. A certain petulant man had struck a stone, and this is I would say it's dative as an indirect object. Either, unless you really want, he struck a stone with Aesop. That would be hilarious. Just pick up Aesop entirely, hit him over the head, hit the stone with him, with his head. But no, I would say at Aesop as an indirect object. But that doesn't make much sense. But like, I don't know, thrusting or striking forth, dash against. Oh, Lewis in Short does give dash against. Dashed a stone against Aesop. That kind of gets it a little better, but not perfectly. Really, I would say, like, had chucked a stone at Aesop. I would want to say threw a stone at Aesop, but that's more Iacchio. It's definitely, Impingo's definitely seems a bit more violent than Iacchio, but oh, well, now that I'm looking at Wiktionary, apparently it lists Iacchio as a synonym. Okay, so I guess it's just more of a violent throwing, you could say. So then that works. I'm going to say chucked, or yeah, chucked works. It's a little more silly sounding at the very least, but I still like it. Tanto inquit melior. So tanto is from tantos, which means so many, so great, that kind of thing. Just an adjective. But it's a little different. I'm going to say so many here, and this is either dative or ablative, masculine. So, well, masculine or neuter, but we'll see what it's doing exactly in just a second. Inquit, very common verb, especially just the third person singular present active indicative. It could also be the perfect active indicative, but from inquam, honestly, I see it as inquit more often than anything else. But it means he said. Just a verb of speaking. And yeah, given a story and this is happening in the past, I'll go with perfect tense. And melior is a comparative adjective. So bonus is good, but melior is better. So melior is in the nominative, so it is the subject. Better, and I'll do tanto first. Either you start with he said better, or better tanto he said. I'm going to go with having the dialogue first. Better and tanto. Tanto is in the ablative case, working as ablative of comparison. So it is than most, because the ablative could work like that. Ablative is just the case of everything. It could just do so many different things. Better than most, he said. Asem deinde illi dedit. So asem, it is the accusative form from as, just like as. And that is like the smallest denomination of Roman currency. So I'm just going to translate this for an English audience as penny. Deinde, it means just then. It's a conjunction meaning then. Illi is from the pronoun ille, which means that. So like that man, you could say. And dedit is from do. It is the third person singular, and from the stem, perfect active indicative. So, do means to give. So he gave. Into English word order. Then he gave a penny to that man. Which is quite nice of Aesop when he was just hit in the head with a rock. Seek, that's supposed to be a circle, it's an adverb. Prosecutus. It's technically a perfect participle. But seek, you've probably seen this a few times if you have seen quotations, and the original writer of the quotation spelled something wrong, and you'll see in brackets a little seek. It means thus or so. Like, it is so in the original text. I did not misspell that. I, as the quoter, did not misspell it. So thus, prosecutus, that is a perfect participle from prosequor, which can mean to escort, accompany, follow, or describe. Thus he described. Which also, it's a perfect participle, but it is not passive. Because prosequor is deponent. It is a deponent verb. So it looks like it's always passive, but it is actually always active. So even when being put into what would normally be a perfect passive participle, it is still active. So he described. Plus non habeo. Oh. Okay. My rat Hamlin just stole a Hershey wrapper from my trash can and hopped away under the dresser with it. So plus non habeo, mer Hercules, sed unde accepere posis monstrabo tibi. So plus, or plus as it looks like, is just an adjective. It is the comparative from multi, which we already saw there, multos. Wait, is there? Okay, yeah, there is a singular form from multos. So, but it's comparative from multos, so instead of many, it is more. And there is no masculine or feminine singular form for plus, just neuter. There is masculine, feminine accusative. It is plurem, But with the neuter, it is also plus. But interesting that it would be neuter then, because I would think this would be referring to, since it's an adjective, it's implying ases, like more pennies, ases, but it's neuter, and as is masculine, is a masculine word, so I don't know why this is neuter. Weird. I'm sure Phaedrus knows more of what he's doing than I do, but with Latin, but I don't know. That seems weird. Oh, I think so. If you look at Wiktionary and look at the usage notes, the neuter singular plus, inflected from the same stem as the adjective, is used only as a pronoun or adverb. And so here I think it's being used as a pronoun on its own. Okay, that's how it's working. So more as a pronoun, just, yeah. And the neuter singular is used only that way. Okay. I think that makes sense. Non, not. Habeo is just exactly how you'd find it in a dictionary. Habeo habere, to have. So I have. Also, quotation mark. And me Hercules is like an interjection, like my God, but here, my Hercules. And let's just go ahead and put this into word order before going to the next part of the sentence. I do not have, well, let's do my Hercules. I do not have more. Said, but, oh wait, no, that is lined up. Okay. Unde, adverb, meaning whence, or from where. Accipere is the infinitive from accipio, which means to receive. There we go. Possis is from possum, to be able. And possus is the second person singular, present, active, subjunctive. So you may be able. Monstrabo is from monstro, and by the bow, you should be able to tell that it is first person singular, future tense, as well as active. And monstro, we get the word demonstrate and demonstrable from this. It is to, let's see, I will show or demonstrate or point out. I'm going to say show. That just sounds best. And tibi, data form from to, so to you. Or you could just say you. And for English word order, but I will show you from where you may be able to receive more. The more is just implied, but I just immediately was like, I think that sounds, did I type morte? Weird. Yeah, I guess I'm just using plus down here as well, which is a thing in Latin. Just using the same word in multiple places. Venit, ecce, dives, et potens. Huic similiter impinge lapidem et dignum praemium accipies. So, venit, from venio, just third person singular, present active indicative. Just he comes. Ecce is an interjection, meaning behold or look. I I almost want to say here comes. Because, like, you still point out something with, like, here comes and that. But I guess you could say, look, and that's actually the subject, dives, a wealthy, et, and potens, powerful man, implied, because of course. Huik is from hic, hike, hawk, which is a pronoun, which is kind of an opposite of ille. Ille is that, hic is this. So dative, so to this man, implied, of course. Similiter is an adverb, as you could probably guess. Similarly. Impinge is from the same verb as impegerat, but this is the imperative. So just Aesop telling the guy to chuck. It's an order. Chuck a stone, lapidem, we already saw that, and dignum, it is an adjective from dignus, which means fitting, worthy, appropriate, that kind of stuff. So let's say a suitable. Yes, a suitable. Accipies, from the same verb as accipere, accipio. But I believe it is second person singular, of course, with the S ending. This is future active indicative. So you will receive premium. We get the word premium from this. And since this is a neuter second declension noun, it could be either nominative or accusative, but accipies also already tells us that the subject is you, so it is accusative. Oh, I didn't even mark it as accusative. There we go. It's the object, and it means a reward or prize. So, let's see. Word order. Chuck a stone at him or this man similarly. Actually, let's have it start. Similarly, chuck a stone at this man, and you will receive a suitable reward. And boy, will he ever. Persuasus ille fecit. Man, I kind of want to mark persuasus as more of a adjective. It's a participle, of course, but ille fecit quod monitus fuit. So persuasus ille, persuasus, perfect passive participle, of course, from persuadeo, which means to persuade, so persuaded, and ille, we've already seen just in the dative, this is the nominative, so that man. Fecit. Fecit is from facio, and this is the perfect tense, third person singular, perfect, and active indicative. So persuaded that man did, it's implied, just did as Aesop said. Quod, conjunction that a lot of the time at least can mean because. Either that or which. I guess did that which monitus fuit. Monitus is a perfect passive participle from moneo, which means to warn, remind, advise. I'd say advise, which he was advised. So, hucked a stone at this wealthy and powerful man. Said, oh no, but spes fefelit impudentem audaciam. So, but spes means hope. This is the nominative, so it's our subject. Fefelit is the third person, singular. Well, from follow, and since there's a change in the stem, you could probably guess it is perfect tense, active indicative. Follow means, it could mean to deceive or trick, or it could be more reflexive. More so, the action is happening to the subject. The subject is essentially doing the action upon itself. And I believe that's what's happening here, but hope, it's perfect tense, so was mistaken. It kind of sounds passive, but it's just being reflexive. Impudentem, from the adjective impudens, which you may be able to guess, can mean impudent, or shameless, or arrogant. And audaciam, from audacia, you may also be able to guess, audaciousness, or boldness. Well, I guess not audaciousness, but audacity. And I guess you gotta put a 4 in there. But hope was mistaken for arrogant audacity. I guess, shameless. Shameless. I feel like there's a better way to say that, too. Shameless daring. Oh, wait. Oh, I see. So I kept thinking that, like, this is kind of the impudent man mistaking hope for shameless daring, which didn't make much sense. But now I see it is divus et potens, the wealthy and powerful man, that is mistaking the hope of the petulant man for shameless daring, probably thinking that this guy was trying to kill him to rob him and take his money. Comprensus namque poenas persolvit gruce. So comprensus is technically originally from comprehendo, which the general participle is, but because this is of course a perfect past participle, it is comprehensus. But some of the authors have written it as comprensos, and so it's comprensos. At least here. It could also be comprehensos. And of course it could be comprehended, but here it's probably more apprehended or arrested. Namque is a conjunction meaning for indeed, or since. Yeah, just a more emphatic form of nam. We've seen nam a couple times in other fables. It's just like an explaining. For, since. So for, poenas, the accusative plural form from poena, which means a punishment, or punishments. Persolvit, that is the third person singular. It can be present or perfect. The forms are the same for both. We've seen a lot of those in this fable. That's weird. Active indicative. So, persolvo, it means to pay out, render, accomplish. But looking at the Lewis and Short dictionary entry, there are a couple examples, one in Cicero, one in Virgil, where being used with poenas means to suffer punishment. So, like, to suffer. So, but he suffered the punishments. Gruce. ablative form of crux, so the cross. So for indeed, to make it more emphatic, he was arrested. Well, that's, I guess you could say, for indeed, the arrested one suffered punishments on the cross. Or I guess you could say from a cross or on a cross. I think any of those works because it's just ablative, so you could translate it a number of ways. But either way, he was crucified for having just chucked a stone at some wealthy guy who just happened to be passing by. Because Aesop just decided to get this guy killed, I guess, just because he threw a stone at him. Which is dark, but is also hilarious. Some random guy chucks a stone at you and you're like, hey, nice job. Here you go. Have a penny. Hey, you know, if you chuck a stone at that wealthy guy, you'll get more. And then he ends up getting crucified. That's hilarious. And yeah, I would say it mostly encapsulates the moral well, where, yeah, the guy succeeded, was rewarded for his action, and then took it a step too far. And so he was brought to ruin. But Aesop kind of influenced that. He kind of made him rewarded for that. I think it would have been better if the petulans wasn't influenced to do that. He just kind of did it on his own. But I don't know. I still get it. I still get how the moral works with it, because he was rewarded for an action. He did the action again and then was punished, trying to get more, trying to succeed more than he really should have. Just should have cut his losses. Well, I guess quit while he was ahead, really. So yeah, I enjoyed this fable. This fable is hilarious, especially Aesop. Like, you don't hear much about the actual character of Aesop and his personality, but he's just a gremlin. Using trickery in order to get back at a guy that honestly didn't even do that much to him, unless it was a big stone and it actually did hit him in the head. That would have hurt. But yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed this. So then, before ending off, let's do a Latin reading and an English reading. Successus ad perniciam multos devocat. Aesopo queram petulans lapidem impegerat. Tanto inquit melior. Asem deende illi dedit. Sic prosecutus, plus non habeo me Hercules, sed, unde accipere possis monstrabo tebi, venet ecce dives et potens, huic similiter impigne lapidem, et dignum accipies praemium. Persuasus ille fecit quod monetus fuit, sed spes fefelet impudentem audaciam. Comprensus namque poenas persoluit cruce. Success calls many to ruin. A certain petulant man had chucked a stone at Aesop. Better than most, he said. Then he gave a penny to that man. Thus he described, My Hercules, I do not have more, but I will show you from where you may be able to receive more. Look, a wealthy and powerful man comes. Similarly, chuck a stone at this man, and you will receive a suitable reward. Persuaded, that man did that which he was advised. But hope was mistaken for shameless daring. For indeed, the arrested one suffered punishments on the cross. If you've made it to this point in the video, then thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this smaller fable in between two very long ones. I certainly enjoyed it, because, yeah, like I said, this is a fun and kind of funny, in a dark way, fable. But like I said, next time will be long, but it is another one of my favorites that I feel could be, the moral of it could be very much discussed a lot in the modern day. Similarly to Lupus et Agnus, the wolf and the lamb. But until next time, Remember to spay and neuter your pets. Et valete, viatores.